Hey, what is going on, guys? Blue Cyric here. So, unfortunately, I can't use my GoPro today because there's simply not enough light, which is super annoying. It's been kind of gloomy for the past few days, so I'm just recording this on my phone. You might even see a bump in quality, to be honest. What I really like about the GoPro is that, it has a much wider field of view, so it's easier to see whether I'm reviewing a product or, anything like that. So just bear with me on this one. So anyway, today I want to talk about how well my Razer Blade 2014 has held up. I am currently in college, and this is my daily driver, so this is what I use for all of my assignments, pretty much all of my games, basically anything. I don't even use my 360 anymore. So the whole reason I'm doing this video in the first place is because I haven't seen any reviews on how well the Razer Blade keeps up, how well this device keeps up with somebody using this as a daily driver. First thing I'm going to start out with is how incredibly dirty this thing gets. That's probably the biggest gripe that I have on this. It's so difficult to keep this thing clean all the time. You'll see smudges on the screen. That's probably really difficult to see. But on the screen there's little smudges and all this other stuff. You can see the keyboard has a little bit of reflection on it. That's just because, the oils in your fingers, it gets all dirty. Let's look at the other side. Yeah, see lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fingerprints. Now the thing is, you can solve this issue with buying some skins. They only cost like $30 or something like that, which is pretty small amount for somebody buying a Razer Blade. Yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is how this thing doesn't have one of these, a RJ45 Ethernet connector. This is just one from D-Link. It works fine. It's a USB 2.0 Ethernet cable, since this thing does not have any Ethernet on it. That is my second biggest gripe. But again, I bought that for $10 on eBay, so it's really not that big of an issue. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is I/O. I don't know if you can see that because there is not enough light in this room. That is a headphone jack. That is two USB 3.0 ports. That is the power plug. On the other side, we have another USB port, an HDMI port, and a Kensington lock. I've actually used that in college. Please buy one if you're going to get this laptop in college, because that would really suck if it got stolen from your dorm. I got my camera stolen from my dorm. It sucks. So this kind of goes back to Ethernet. The lack of I/O isn't really that great. It's not very convenient for a lot of things. Let's say I'm importing stuff over from a little, micro SD card. Say I recorded some stuff. For example, this YouTube video, I'm going to be using an SD card. I had to buy one of these, which is just another USB SD card reader thing. This was only like $10. But the problem I have with this, again, this goes back to about my whole point of this video. The whole point is that this laptop is not as convenient as most people make it out to be. It's like the single port, the new MacBook, super thin, super overpriced laptop. It's not that convenient in real world situations, especially what I'm trying to do. Like, for example, video editing or programming or moving a bunch of photos from an SD card, that kind of stuff. Basically, what I've talked about so far with the Razer Blade is the fact that those can be fixed with just little accessories. That's fine. This is probably the most important detail. It's not my biggest gripe, but it's probably the most important detail, is the battery life issues on this device. Battery life, when it works, is great. I get, 4 to 5 hours on a single charge for, considering on how thin it is, that's pretty good. Considering how thin this thing is, the battery life on this thing is phenomenal. I don't know how they actually managed to pull out, 4 or 5 hours on a charge at a single time. Not playing games, because games will drain it in an hour, but that's just about every single gaming computer out there. Now, with my device particularly, I'm not sure if this is the case with all units. Maybe it was just my unit. Maybe I got a defect. I'm not sure. But if I wanted to play a game on, let's say, max settings, I'm, pumping everything out of this laptop. Max settings, everything's running 100%. The thing gets super hot, which is to be expected, again, considering on how thin it is. But thing is, even if you keep the laptop plugged in, because the power supply is not able to supply enough power to keep this machine going, it starts getting the rest of the power it needs from the battery, which means, despite it being plugged in, it's still gonna drain your battery. I've only seen this during games. I haven't seen it during, day-to-day tasks, like, for example, my programming that I have right here, which is just a small assignment that I'm working working on right now. If you're playing games, max settings, this laptop will die on you in a couple of hours, and the battery's going to be dead, and you're going to have to recharge it. And that can get pretty annoying for people, who want to play, longer than like a couple hours of sessions of games. I typically don't, so this isn't that big of an issue, to me at least. Overall, how has this laptop held up? I'd say it's pretty good, especially what I've gone through with this thing. The hours and hours and hours upon hours of assignments and, gaming and all that stuff. I'd say it's held up pretty damn well. Yeah, those are just some things to keep note of, that you want a system like this. These are things you have to watch out for, because it's gonna get you. I promise. Anyway, that's my video today, guys. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I'm not sure how long this video is actually going to be when I go back and edit this, but next time I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm gonna go over this and why this was a really, really stupid idea.